I would say it's because of the transparency and the repeated access to the developers. We've very often experienced this sort of black box development process with a lot of other games, and some of those games don't promise really much at all, and so there's just a ton of speculation. When you have rampant speculation, people feel entitled to certain things, and when the game launches without those things, they quickly turn that into, we were promised this, or you guys didn't deny that we would get this, and that's a little bit ridiculous. I would say with this, we are seeing so often these live development things. We've got these Q&As, we've got the developers that are going into Discord and they're answering questions. We've got an actual media person sitting next to Stephen when he says the things, and they're being vetted, and they're constantly going through this kind of stuff. So they are hyper aware of what the promises are. On top of that, we've had a little bit longer in the gaming industry to see some of these things, like the No Man's Sky incident with the overpromise, underdeliver, and what you have to do to come back from something like that. So there is a little bit of recent experience in exactly that front. MMOs are not the same place that we were when Warcraft was released and all of a sudden everybody went for a wild cash grab thinking that they were going to be the next big thing. It's been a long time. So I would say the combination of experience and transparency is what makes it a little bit different for me.
I think he summarized it perfectly for me. I'm not going to lie.
No further comments, Your Honor.
No. There is a certain level of transparency that's being shown that's different. At the end of the day, work is work. Whatever you promise, you got to put in. If you're going to promise XYZ, you have to work to achieve XYZ. There's really like evidence that I could offer aside from the transparency, but it just feels different. I don't know how else to describe, but just this development cycle feels different. And truthfully, if they're going to make these statements, I want it to be backed up by taking your time and doing it the right way. Don't put things out early. Don't put things out too soon. Don't be an MMO that releases that doesn't have the content that it needs to succeed. As long as Intrepid continues to follow their MO, which has been their MO and Steven's MO for years now, as long as there's no hard pivots and suits coming in and we're injecting with all XYZ, as long as we stay the course, I hope that we're in for a shock.
And we've partnered with EA, who will handle all the distribution.
Oh my God. I will inject your neck with a dart. I have a couple of points here, and I think mine are probably a little bit different than yours. I definitely do not disagree with what you guys are saying, because I think we have pretty poignant opinions because we are in the throes of watching this development very, very closely. My points are this. The first one that gives me confidence is this team itself. The team that we have watched Steven build and Intrepid build, even from a very small team, is incredibly talented. It seems to me that Intrepid is grabbing the cream of the crop when it comes to their folks. Their folks, as we've seen on several live streams, like these people, they know the gaming industry, they know their craft, they know the things that they're doing, and he has really skimmed the cream off the top of that pool. So I'm very, very confident. I'm not going to say hopeful. I'm very confident in this team. The second thing has to do with perception. When you have folks, it seems to be a lot of the general consensus and a lot of the disdain that you see out there about Ashes, or you see some video that comes up that, says like, Ashes is garbage. And oh my God, how I just want to virtually just hug those people nice and tight. When you see a lot of the disdain out there, it's a lot of fly-by-night people that have not been watching the development like folks like us or content creators or some of this core audience for Ashes have for the length of time that they have been watching it. So the perception can be at first glance that this is just another company that is over promising all of these things. And yeah, Ashes is an incredibly ambitious game. But at the same time, when was the last time that you had a glass window into the development of a game from start to finish? We're not at the finish line yet, but from start to finish. Can you remember any game that you've ever seen or played that has had this kind of transparency from start to finish? I also cannot. And we all have been playing these games and watching development of these games for a long time. And I think when I say perception, I think the perception that people have is that this game is going to come out soon or it's really, really close. Well, it's not, you guys. This game is a little ways off. They have a long way to go, but the perception is that it's going to come out within like maybe 5 or 6 months after you first turn on a YouTube video and you see all these things and you think they're overpromising. Well, they're not. They've been working on the game for years already at this point, and it's still probably at least a few away. I think that perception comes in the fact that there is just so much transparency here that people are not, they're not used to that.